Yeah, as we engage in a conversation on social capital, I believe it's important that we remember that racism in our society is still very real. Just this weekend, alt-right leader Richard Spencer, whose headquarters is right down the street from my house, led 2 white supremacist rallies, one by torchlight in Charlottesville, Virginia, my own Commonwealth. The United States Congress itself has a long and ugly history on matters of race and gender. We're reminded of this every day as we walk by past statues of bygone bigots and misogynists. It's also worth remembering that those racist luminaries whose views and policies would ideally be rejected by all 535 members of Congress often turn to pseudoscience to justify hatred and exploitation. Cognizant of this history, we would hope that we would do everything in our power to make a clean break with that foul part of our legacy, as opposed to dressing it up in new clothes and returning it to these marble halls. Vice Chairman Lee, I'm fascinated by the stated topic of this hearing today, and I found your past comments on social capital very valuable. And I sincerely look forward to discussing this issue in depth with Dr. Small, Dr. Levin, Dr. Putnam. But I'm dismayed that instead of creating a forum for the discussion of critical economic issues in the best traditions of this committee, the decision to invite Charles Murray risks turning this hearing into a sideshow. I cannot imagine, Senator, a man of your intelligence and political acumen was unaware of the meaning and consequences of inviting Charles Murray. I'll note that it seems no accident that Chairman Tiberi has taken the unorthodox step of abdicating this hearing to you, and that many of your Republican colleagues have chosen to avoid this hearing altogether. I'm aware that arguments about free speech are often offered when defending invitations made to Dr. Murray. But I want to be clear, this has nothing to do with the First Amendment. The Constitution guarantees his right to write and say and publish whatever he wishes. But there's no constitutional right to testify before a congressional committee. And I don't believe that this committee's time and resources should be used to burnish his reputation. After all, it was his unconstrained exercise of his constitutionally protected right of free speech that gave him his toxic reputation in the first place. Dr. Small, I found your testimony and your scholarship interesting. I hope we have time to discuss it later in future depth, but I think we have to address the elephant of bigotry in the room. Can you give me your professional opinion of the bell curve as a matter of scholarship?
It's not a very good book. There are many reasons I could offer. I don't know how much time you have, Congressman. If you'd like a longer answer, I'm happy to provide it.
Well, let me phrase it a little differently. What's your opinion of the utility of a book that argues that African Americans are born with a lower IQ than white Americans, that there's a racially based genetic difference in IQ? Can this really be a guide for policymakers?
Not a very effective one, no.